What's going on, guys? Mike back again for part 3 of our Learning to Website Design series here on our lovely YouTube service. I hope you enjoyed yesterday's or part 2 episode whenever you're watching it. Pretty much, for those of you who didn't see it, just do a little brief summary. It went over the basic tags that we were learning, which was our HTML tag, our title, our head, and our body. Those are the very basics. You need those tags in order to create your website, or at least start to create your website. So today, continuing on the topic of tags, we're going to go over the next two important ones that you are going to need. Those are both your paragraph tag and your heading tag. I'll get into a little bit more about which one does what and when you could possibly use them. So I figured let's jump right into it right now. So open up your document from yesterday. I have mine here in our lovely, beautiful Dreamweaver. And for those of you wondering, I did change from just a standard code tile to a split tile. This way you can see what's going to happen, from the left side, and then when I click on the right side, it will transpose the code so you can visually see it. For those of you who aren't using Dreamweaver or who aren't using a WYSIWYG program, such as Dreamweaver or Composer, the best way to see your work would be after you save it, open up that file. It will open in your web browser, and I'll just pull it over here, and this, as you can see, it's blank because we didn't fill anything here. But if you look at the top, here is our title. This is what I was talking about yesterday. Anything you put in your title will come up right there. So, for those of you who are wondering how do I test my code, that is the way to do it. So anyway, let's get into our paragraph and heading tags. We are first going to start with our heading tag, since it is the most, I want to say, prominent, and is the most, it is the one tag that's going to stand out the most, and the one you'll see every now and then. So to start the heading tag, same way, we're going to open bracket. And now before I start, let me just say all these tags are going to be in the body format. They're going to be parented under the body class. I'm talking in Java code now, excuse me. They're going to be put under the body tags, or inside of the body tags. You can put headers in other tags or in other portions of code, but don't worry about that right now. That'll be in a later topic under advanced. So since this is very basic, we're just going to start now in the body section. So like I said, we're going to start. It is going to be an open bracket, or a less than sign, excuse me, the letter H, and then now your headers or your headings can go between 1 through 6, as you can see labeled here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And what this means is heading 1, H1, is the biggest heading you can get, the one of most importance, if you will, and H6 is the one of least importance. So we're going to start with H1. So we're going to open our tag H1 and then greater than sign. And in here we can type, welcome to my website design tutorial here on YouTube. Like I said, I like to capitalize everything because I am a nerd like that. And then we close it the same way we are going to close it. Now, if you would like to see it, for those of you who are using WYSIWYGs programs, you can just click right on your design portion here, and bam, there we go. A nice, big, bolded statement in our heading for those of you all to see. And now if you like, oh, but let's say I want a heading 2. So now we will do the same thing, H2, and this is what a second heading looks like. Again, random capitalizations, because that is what I'm about, and then we will enter it, and there we go. As you can see, it's smaller font, but again, it is bolded, so it is showcasing a heading. Now, the way it works when you have headings, they will automatically put this space in between. As you can see, there is a space in between here. It's not going to link them all one right after another, like it would be if you were typing out a sentence and it doesn't fit on the screen, how it would be in like a perfect block. So you don't have to worry about line breaks. I will get into line breaks, probably actually this episode, why not, when we get into paragraphs. So that is what a heading 2 looks like, and this is a heading 3. We'll just showcase that. And we'll just write all 6 of them out. This is a heading 6. We'll close that. Make 5 here. Whoops. I can't type today. Do you believe this? Heading. Whoa, this should be 5. This should not be 6. This should be 4. Excuse me. I am jumping the gun here because that is what I do. Let's put a space and H6. Beautiful. Heading 6. Okay. So now, to just show the difference in all of them, bam. So here we go, 6, very, very small. Look at such a little heading. Your paragraphs will type out more than that, well, bigger than that. So most of the time you will not see anything past heading 3, believe it or not. Even heading 3 is a little bit concerning. Most of the time it's usually just, your 1s and 2s that you will see. 3s are there uncommon, let's put it that way. Not super common, but you can see them every now and then. And usually 4, 5, and 6, very rare you do not see them whatsoever. So those are headings. Pretty much where will you see them or where will you use them? If you view forums a lot, you'll see, sometimes it'll be like the topic name of that post, or like if you go to a certain forum and you can click on the different like menu bar, and you can go to, let's say, like video games or something, it'll showcase video games up there, and that is what a heading would generally be showcased as, and that is where you would use them. So if you're someone who's doing an informational website or like a portfolio website, that is where your headings will come into play, and that is where they will be most defined. Now, what goes inside of your headings? Or let's say you have your heading, and we're just going to do this under right after heading 1. Let's say we just want to showcase, we want to put some information under heading 1, like welcome to my website design tutorial here on YouTube. So now we are going to put some content to fill that. So to do that, we are going to open the paragraph. We do not want to close body. We're going to open the paragraph, which is less than p greater than. And paragraphs is pretty much what all your information about. So what you can write here is pretty much, since it's coming under our heading 1, just a little fluff about what people will be able to find here. So during these tutorials, I cannot type. Oh my gosh. I will be discussing how to learn website design. This will allow you to make your very own basic website for whatever reason you want. Bam. And with paragraphs, like I said, every time you open one, you will have to close one. With HTML5, I actually believe you do not have to close paragraph tags, or maybe even regular HTML, but it's always good to get into the habit of closing them, because God forbid, something doesn't work. You want to make sure it's closed so that your whole code does not get ruined. So we'll click here, and bam, there we go. So now we have a little bit of a description under our heading here. And, that's pretty much just how paragraphs work. Now you can change, you can put information on your paragraphs for any heading you want. I hope you like the look of heading 2. And then we can close it with our P. Whoops, you see what I did here? I closed. See, I consider myself a professional coder, and I actually ended up closing, starting with a closing tag. But now we'll click here, and bam. So that is generally the way paragraphs work, or the P tags work. But as I was saying before, if you could see, this is generally about the same size as a heading 3. The only difference is it's not bolded. And there are ways to go about bolding and changing the fonts and changing the formats. Don't worry, we will get into all that. But for right now, that's pretty much everything I just wanted to go over. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up about what the heading tags look like and how they are different from paragraphs. You can make a paragraph look like a heading. Don't worry, there are ways within, different font elements and importing CSS sheets into it. Very easy to do, but for right now, we are just going to stick with regular HTML. We'll go over the basics, make sure you get all the basic tags over before we start changing the way everything looks, because once that happens, then you guys are going to probably be fairly confused. So I want to make sure everything is laid out on paper and on video for you guys to easily access. So that's pretty much it for today. Just wanted to go over, what the difference was between a heading tag and a paragraph tag, and where you would use either or. Again, headings would be, the big thing about what let's say you're making an article. Your heading 1 would be the article title, and your paragraph would be, everything of what that article is, so your actual article. Now, you can have multiple paragraphs if you would like. So this is, I always capitalize, this is the second paragraph about my first heading. And then you can close that, and bam, it will automatically put a space in between for you, and it will label out your second paragraph. So let's say you're writing a story or whatever. You can even write a paper. Let's say you're doing a college paper. You can even write it including HTML tags throughout your document, and it will use those in order to post stuff. For example, Facebook. I believe if you put tags on Facebook, it will cut them out and it will apply those tags. I'm not 100% sure if the new one does it now. I know it did it back then. You were able to import, your own HTML code, and it would take that into account without including that into the post. So it's something you could play around with, learn different ways to, write a paper using your tags in a text document and see what the final outcome is when you do end up opening it. And just to show you guys that this does actually work, I'm going to save this. Bam, we have it saved. And now I'm going to open this up, like I said. Bam, and here it is. Let me drag this over for you. And that is what it is going to look like on pretty much on a website. Like I said, there really isn't much to it right now. It's just regular black coding or black text, black font with no style to it whatsoever. But as the lessons go on, we are going to add style to it. We are going to center things, put stuff right in the middle, put stuff far to the left, add bullets, going to make our menu bars, put our little logos. So don't worry, it might not look like much right now, but like I said, we're going to keep this very slow. We're going to pretty much move this out of snail space so everyone can follow along. And that is pretty much that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this mini lesson on headings and paragraphs, and I hope you got a little bit of understanding about what the difference is between them. And I hope to see you guys in part 4. In part 4, we are probably going to start talking about, maybe I'll include line breaks. I know I said I was going to include line breaks in here, and I actually did not. So I'll briefly go over line breaks. There's really not much to them. And then we might go into footers. Because footers is definitely a good thing where, if you could start your document with a footer, have it there, you can have a nice little viewpoint, or at least that's how I feel. You can have a viewpoint of where, your website starts and where it ends and where you want all the info in between. So tomorrow we'll probably go over line breaks and go over footers, and that'll probably be tomorrow's lesson. And then after that, we're going to start really cranking out the customization, and we're going to start importing CSS. So part 5, we're going to start our first CSS document, which is a cascading style sheet. That is where you're going to put all your colors and make your menu bars and indent stuff. You can do that straight in HTML, don't get me wrong, but it gets too cluttered, and you'll find out that once you learn CSS, even though it might be a little bit different in the coding format, it's definitely going to be well worth it. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you in part 4. Later.